Hey everyone, Nick here again, back to talk about The Walking Dead, specifically the Season 8 finale of The Walking Dead called Wrath, and I'm just going to come right out and say it. This was the best episode of Season 8 by far. Like, the only episode that comes close this season was the premiere. And this was just, oh, it was such a good episode. We actually felt Carl's presence in this episode. Like, it actually felt, particularly at the end, like Rick was actually listening to him. Taking his final words and his letter, he was taking it all to heart, you know? So yeah, we got a very strong presence of Carl. Definitely the most present he has felt since he died. And of course, like, the flashbacks of Rick with young Carl, oh god, if that wasn't just an emotional assault. But at the end of the day, this is still all-out war, so it needed to feel like a war, and it did. Like, the whole episode had a very strong build-up vibe. Like, it was obvious that the final battle was on its way. Like, it is going down now in this episode. Like, there was no doubt. Like, in other episodes, like, it's hard to deny that sometimes you're just kind of sitting there like, so are we ever gonna finish this? Like, is the battle ever gonna end? But in this episode, all throughout, you're just like, yeah, it is on. One way or another, this is the end of the war right here. So, that was pretty satisfying, and it all culminated in the final battle sequence, which was amazing. It was intense, it was action-packed, it was satisfying, it was just great. I loved it. Like, we've waited so long for this battle, and I'm so happy that it finally happened. Like, we've waited so long for this battle to happen, and it finally happened, and honestly, I think it was worth the wait, because it was so well done. Let's talk about my boy Eugene for a second. If you have been following my channel for a while, you would know that I am a huge fan of Eugene. I cosplayed as him at Walker Stalker last year, and I was a little disheartened to see him getting more and more comfortable on Negan's side. That's what it seemed like for a long time. I mean, there were times when I was thinking, is he actually a full-blown savior now? But, like, I had doubts, but I never gave up on him. I always believed that at some point, Eugene was going to come back. And he was the hero of this episode, okay? Let's just acknowledge that right now. Everyone would be dead right now if Eugene hadn't have sabotaged the bullets. Okay? Everyone would be dead. Or at least almost everyone. Honestly, it kind of reminded me of in the Season 5 premiere when Rick and a bunch of the others were captured by Terminus. And then Carol rolled up and she blew the place up. And that enabled Rick and everyone else to escape. They would not have gotten out of that situation were it not for Carol. And this is the same thing, really. Eugene just turned into Carol. Oh, I can't even tell you how happy I am to say that sentence and be able to justify it. Overall, as much as it hurt me seeing Eugene getting more and more comfortable with the Saviors, it was a very fascinating watch. It was a very interesting story arc for him. It was one I certainly didn't expect to happen. And this was a worthy ending to that arc. It was a very well done ending, and I'm very happy that it was a part of the show. But I'm even more happy that he is finally back. So, yeah. Eugene, welcome back. We all owe you for saving everybody. But he had that punch coming, okay? As much as I love Eugene, he threw up on Rosita. How could she not punch him? Like, I'm surprised she only punched him once, to be honest. The acting was amazing. And I say that every week, so it's probably redundant at this point. So, I'm hereby starting a new segment of my reviews where I name the best actors slash actresses in the episode. Starting now, and I will do this all throughout Fear as well. So, for me, the best ones in this episode were obviously Andrew Lincoln, always good, and seeing him actually start to take in Carl's death and actually use it for positive change, that was really well done. Jeffrey Dean Morgan, like, it was great watching Negan go from super cocky and confident to, like, actually scared. Like, he was literally running for his life by the end of this episode. And, like, the face-to-face confrontation that they had, that was both a fight and Rick telling Negan that Carl was right, that they can stop the fighting and make the world a better place. All of that was just so well done. And for me, the best performance in the episode has to go to Lauren Cohan, because when Rick announced that he was not going to kill Negan, like, you could see the pain in her face. Like, she looked betrayed, and, like, I get why she would feel that way. And you could make the case that, yeah, she feels that way because she was betrayed. But, like, I'll get to that in a second, why I think that was actually a good call for Rick to not kill Negan, but yeah, Laura Cohan was just amazing in that scene. That was probably her best acting on the show since the Season 7 premiere, after Glenn was killed. Then at the end, sort of like the epilogue of the episode, we finally got Daryl and Dwight confrontation, which I was really looking forward to seeing, and I thought that whole scene was very well done. Norman Reedus and Austin Emilio also did great acting jobs in that scene, and it felt very believable. Like, you could see that Dwight was actually legitimately remorseful for what he had done, but he knew that even with everything that he had done to help the group, there was no way that he could ever fully earn their forgiveness. So he was ready for Daryl to kill him. And it's obvious that Daryl is still not happy about everything that went down with him, everything he did to him and everyone else. But his efforts to try and redeem whatever parts of himself that he could, his efforts were not lost on Daryl, and that's why Daryl chose not to kill him in the end, which I am happy about. I think pretty much everyone is. I think everyone has come around to Dwight. In fact, to be honest, it seems like people prefer Dwight over Daryl at this point in some ways. Not me. I still love Daryl. But I do like Dwight too, and I am happy that Daryl didn't kill him. And just the whole thing, the whole scene was very believable, and it was a satisfying ending. And I'm looking forward to seeing where Dwight goes from here, because he's been banished, basically. That did not happen in the comics. He actually became the leader of the Sanctuary after Negan was taken down. So, yeah. I'm really curious to see where he reappears, if he even does. I assume he will. He's too good a character. They won't just get rid of him like that. But they might do something different with him next season. I don't know. As far as Rick not killing Negan goes, I get why some people are upset. There are people who haven't read the comics, or haven't read all of the comics up to a certain point, that are like, why? Why didn't Rick kill him? After everything Negan has done, why didn't Rick kill him? And I admit, when I read the comics, I thought that was the stupidest thing. I'm like, this can only end badly. But The story arc that Negan got as a result of not being killed was truly amazing. Like, one of the best things that the comic has ever done. Certainly the most unpredictable because, you know, wherever you thought the story was going, it never went. And it was just so amazing to watch. It was exciting, fascinating, complex, and ultimately it was profound, even. I know how that sounds, but in time, people will be grateful that Negan isn't dead. But one thing I didn't really buy in the comics about Negan being spared was the fact that everyone just sort of accepted it immediately, even Maggie. But on the show, they're now teasing maybe a potential civil war between Rick and Maggie. And I think that's more realistic, to be honest. And, I mean, this finale did not end on a cliffhanger. Thank God. I don't think the show could have withstood a cliffhanger at this point. But, you know, obviously they had to have something to keep you wanting to come back next season. And, yeah, that's what this was. This was like a tease of what's to come in Season 9. And I'm looking forward to seeing how that plays out. So, for the first time since the premiere, I am happy to report that I am giving this episode a 10 out of 10. It was so fun. It was entertaining. By far the best episode of Season 8. And the war is finally over. I enjoyed it, but, you know, it's time to move on. Personally, I probably would have made this like a half-season arc, but, you know, I'm not complaining about it. I'm just saying I think maybe that would have been better. But, yeah, it is time to move on, and it's time to really start honoring Carl and building the better world that he was talking about. Minus Negan picking tomatoes and being all buddy-buddy with Judith like he's the cool uncle. We can leave that part out, but let's try to make everything else happen. So yeah, Season 8 of The Walking Dead was not perfect, but it ended on a high, and I'm very thankful for that.